Welcome back everybody. Today in this video, we are going to take you to another part which is common cases of Hiyari-hatto situation or in English, we are going to call it near miss cases in food factories. Case studies 1 to 19. So what is a near miss? There are cases where someone was working and they almost get injured themselves. The Hiyari-hatto near-miss cases activity was started with the aim of looking at such near misses and linking them to accident prevention. It's an effective way to understand what the dangers are in the workplace. So, in this video, we are going to focus on two types of accidents that are commonly happening in food factories, which is tripping over, falling from height, and collisions. Firstly, let's start with cases regarding tripping over, falling from height. Case study number 1. Look at the first picture. While standing on a work platform to do the cleaning, the hose moved due to the water pressure, and this worker lost his balance and nearly fell off the platform. So, what is the cause? There was too much water in the hose and the water pressure changed. So, there are many examples when hoses moved. The main cause is too much water, and the countermeasure is to open and close the taps slowly and work with the correct amount of water. Case study number 2. Look at the second picture. In this situation, this worker was standing on a step ladder and tightening some bolts near the ceiling. He applied too much force and the wrench came off the bolt. He lost his balance and nearly fell from the step ladder. So, the cause is that he tried to work in an unstable position on a step ladder. Also, too much force was applied when tightening the bolts. The countermeasures avoid this situation is to avoid unstable positions when tightening bolts with a wrench. Before starting work, check out the wrench to make sure it is not worn out. Do not stand on the top of the step ladder. Case study number 3. Look at the first picture. In this picture, the worker was trying to pick up a flexible container bag using a crane and take it from the trailer bed. The flexible container bag shook and hit him, and he nearly fell from the trailer bed. So the causes: the worker didn't fully understand where he was standing when using the crane. Also, when lifting the flexible container bag, the crane wire was at an angle. So, to prevent such situation, we should provide sufficient occupational safety education about where to stand when using a crane. Also, when lifting flexible container bags with a crane, make sure that there is no slack in the wire and hang the bags on a hook. Case study number 4. Look at the second picture. In this situation, the worker was heading for the waste dump in the truck at night, and there was no lights, and he couldn't see where he was going, and he almost fell into a ditch. Although it was the night shift, the parking lot lights were not turned on because the worker was familiar with walking there. So, to avoid such situation, even if you are used to the work, turn on the lights at night. Fully illuminate the surroundings, especially walkways. Case study number 5. Look at the first picture. While walking down the stairs in the office, the person in this picture was looking at her smartphone. She missed a step and nearly fell. So the cause is that the worker was looking at her smartphone while walking, so was not looking at her feet. To avoid such situation, do not use your smartphone while walking, especially when walking downstairs. Stop when you want to use your smartphone. Case study number 6. Look at the second picture. During loading work onto a truck trailer bed, the worker in this picture tried to support a load that was about to fall and he almost fell. So sufficient countermeasures were not taken to prevent falling of the load in working process is the causes. To avoid such situation, for loading work, loads should be piled up on the trailer bed so they are balanced, and for loads that tend to fall, take countermeasures to prevent them from falling, such as using bolts. Also, wear a helmet correctly and do not work in dangerous locations such as the end of a trailer bed. Case study number 7. Look at the first picture. The worker in this situation was pushing the car toward the truck trailer bed on a platform. It was difficult to see the front of the cart because the products were piled up too high that he nearly fell from the platform together with the cart. So many products was piled up together make the worker could not see the front of the cart is the reason. In order to prevent such situation to happen, load heavy items first on carts and do not pile up so many products that to the point that you cannot see the front. Also, when pushing a cart, pay attention to safety and if necessary, assign another person to check out the work. Case study number 8. Look at the second picture. In this situation, the worker took a product from the shelf and tried to get it down with his bare hand. The stepladder wobbled and he lost his balance and nearly fell. So be sure to use the stepladder with a stopper. When getting on and off, keep one hand empty to hold the stepladder. In case of having too many products in your hand, make sure to work in pairs. Another kind of accident that tends to happen commonly in food factories is tripping over. Here is some case studies. Case study number 9. Look at the first picture. In this situation, the worker was boiling hot water used for disinfecting cutting boards in a large pot. After disinfecting, when carrying the pot with both hands to throw away the hot water, her feet slipped and she nearly tripped over. Because the worker carried the heavy pot alone, she couldn't see her feet. So make sure to carry hot water pot in pairs, since the hot water may spill out while carrying. Wear protective gear such as rubber gloves, apron, and glasses. Case study number 10. Look at the second picture. In this situation, after making some lunch boxes, the worker tried to walk but slipped on the wet floor and nearly fell. The wet floor was not wiped off properly and the worker walked with both hands full. So in order to prevent such situation to happen, if the floor is wet, wipe it up properly and make sure that both of your hands are not full while walking. Case study number 11. Look at the first picture. The person in this picture was carrying frozen food in the freezer and the floor was frosty. His feet slipped and he nearly fell. The causes is that the freezer's floor was frosty and slippery. Also, the worker did not pay enough attention. The countermeasure is, when working in the freezer, wear slip-resistant shoes and pay enough attention to the floor's condition, such as whether if the floor is wet or frosted. When working, keep your balance, do not hurry, and move calmly. Case study number 12. Look at the second picture. In this situation, the person was trying to carry a heavy object, so she stuck and stepped on a cart. The cart moved and she nearly fell. The cause is that there was no stopper on the cart. Also, the worker was carrying an object that was too heavy and made her staggered. The countermeasures to avoid such situation is to attach stoppers to the cart and carrying heavy projects in pairs. Case study number 13. Look at the first picture. In this situation, the worker tried to climb over a belt conveyor that has stopped when carrying some objects, but he lost his balance and nearly fell. So the cause is trying to move across the belt conveyor while carrying objects, even when it is stopped. The countermeasures to avoid this situation is when moving to the opposite side of a belt conveyor, use a safe walkway. If necessary, design the bridge exclusively used for crossing. Case study number 14. Look at the second picture. This situation, while holding a box with bread in both hands and walking in the parking lot toward the truck, the worker in this picture didn't notice that there was an empty box right under his feet and nearly tripped over. So what caused this situation? The bread box was so wide that it was difficult for the worker to see his feet. On top of that, an empty box was in the way. Also, the worker did not check the safety of the walkway properly. To avoid this situation, do not leave things in walkways even if they are used in the process of work, and check the safety of walkway before starting. When carrying several boxes, only carry the amount that allows you to keep the view in front of you. Case study number 15. Look at the first picture. In this situation, the worker here walking inside the warehouse with a stack of cardboard boxes and nearly slipped on the slope. So what caused this situation? The soles of the worker's shoes were a little bit worn out. The slope was steep, and the slope was wet and slippery. To avoid this situation, work shoes should be regularly inspected, and if the soles are worn out, the shoes should be replaced. Slopes should be made slip-free with rubber mats. Case study number 16. Look at the second picture. In this picture, the worker almost tripped on a cord on the floor when walking. Workers left out hoses and equipment that they had been using on the floor is the main cause. So, to avoid this situation, keep things organized and tidy and store cords and hoses, etc. in designated places. Do not leave them on the floor. Next type of common accident is collisions. Case study number 17. Look at the first picture. In this picture, the worker used a forklift to move some empty boxes to the outside storage area. He passed through the warehouse entrance without pausing and nearly hit a person who came from the side. So, what caused this situation? The forklift driver did not pause in front of the warehouse entrance. To avoid this situation, forklift drivers must make a temporary stop in front of the warehouse entrance and confirm safety by pointing and calling. Case study number 18. Look at the second picture. In this situation, the person was moving a load from the trailer bed to another truck with another worker. He turned around suddenly and nearly hit his head on the door of the truck. So what caused the situation? The worker did not look closely and performed a sudden action. To avoid this situation, walk calmly and avoid sudden movements. When there is a risk of hitting your head, wear a helmet. Case study number 19. Look at this picture. In this picture, the forklift driver tried to load cargo without noticing the fact that there was someone still inside, thus almost hit the person. So what caused the situation? The forklift driver was unaware that there was someone in the container. The forklift was loaded with so many cargoes that the driver could not see the front. To avoid this situation, established rules to prevent to prevent danger when entering containers. Reduce the amount of cargo loaded on the forklift so that you can see the front, or arrange another person to check out the work. Well, that's all for today. We hope you enjoyed this video. We still have part 3 and 4 to go, so please check out the whole series, and we'll see you guys in the next videos. Bye!